Customers who tell you you suck might actually love you. Coming up next. Hey everybody, Ben here from JobNimbus with the Building Business channel, and I got Dennis from Podium with me. I want to talk about unhappy customers. Most of us, when we have unhappy customers, our first instinct is to run. Why is that the wrong first instinct?
Well, even for the best businesses, unhappy customers are inevitable, right?
Yeah.
Negative reviews are inevitable. And so the most important thing is first to recognize that that's going to be a reality. And second is to have a plan in place to know how you're going to react, right? So I think having a plan is the first thing, and knowing so that it doesn't catch you off guard and you're not surprised of, oh no, I have an unhappy customer, what am I going to do? It's going to happen, and you should know exactly how to handle it.
I think a lot of times, not only do we want to run, but we want to see, can we fire that customer? I don't want to deal with that. They're saying really hard things. They're hurting me. You know, I'm scared about what they're saying because it makes us change.
Yeah.
What would be another way to approach that problem?
Well, typically it's not the business's fault, to be honest, right? A lot of times it can be the customer's fault, but the key is to not get defensive and put that back on the customer. And so typically what we see is it's usually a communication breakdown. So most of the time even for Podium, we've had unhappy customers who are really disgruntled and they're really passionate about the point they're trying to drive home. We usually just say, okay, let's break this down and really understand what the problem is and how we can help. But you can't know what the problem is unless you're constantly asking the customer. And so when people start really driving and asking their customers for reviews, that's when they start to get the insight. Because a lot of customers, even though they might be unhappy or they've had a miscommunication, they won't tell you, right? They'll be sitting there completely disgruntled, and it's not until you ask them after they leave or you send them that message or that email and say, hey, can you leave us some feedback? That's when they open up and say, hey, I had this big problem with this person, and then you can start addressing it. So first it's kind of pinpointing where the problem is and then figuring out how to help them and help them solve it.
One of the things that has changed a lot for me in the last few years is realizing that when somebody's upset and unhappy, that means they care.
Right.
They actually care. And so instead of pushing them away, pull them closer,
Yes.
ask more questions, like you're saying, the communication there, because they care. They want the business to be better. They want the product to be better. And dang it, they're not happy with the situation. And that's how I feel most of the time. I want it to be better too. So we're actually aligned if you think about it in that way.
And believe it or not, those people who are most passionate, if you can turn them around and help them with their problem and really show them that you care, they can be your biggest advocates. And we see that all the time, right? It's somebody who left a 1-star review and was really ranting and raging and they had a big following online. That means they're an influential customer.
Yep.
And if you take the time to turn it around, maybe concede on some pride and really help them out, sometimes they can be your biggest advocate and bring you in way more referrals. And so it's totally worth the time to make your customers happy and spend the time to turn that around.
Okay, so what are some techniques to change your customers' hearts and minds and turn them from that unhappy to that, frankly, raving fan of your company? What can you do?
Well, one is constant feedback. A lot of times we talk to businesses and they don't know that there's certain parts of their business that might not be fully optimized, right?
Yep.
And so it's pinpointing where are the areas, where am I dropping the ball? And if you're not asking your customers, it's going to be really hard for you to know. So first, ask your customers constantly for feedback and reviews and really watch what people are telling you.
Yep, okay. You're inevitably going to get some bad reviews. What do you do when you get a bad review? Because there's a lot of effects of a bad review. Actually, let's talk about that. What are some of the negatives around getting a bad review right now?
Yeah, two, I think your score, right? Your review score.
Which drives what?
That drives all of your conversion and how people find you online, right? So there's a big scoreboard online. People are keeping track of this. If you let that dip because of negative reviews, you're going to have some trouble getting
Number
found.
one thing people look for on Amazon is their review ratings, right?
You got to hit that rating threshold or you're going to become irrelevant.
What's number two?
Number two is trust and losing current customers, right? Mm-hmm. So mostly reviews impact customers that are looking for you, your new leads. Oh, I want to find a business that's 4-star or above. So that's the major filter. But even your loyal customers over time will be influenced by these negative reviews because they might lose trust in you and go somewhere else, right?
So you get some bad reviews, you go and try to change. Is it possible, by the way, to change a review? Can somebody go back and edit their review?
Most review platforms will allow you to go back and change your review. So our advice to most businesses is 2 steps: respond and reach out. And so the first thing, respond. Go on to that platform and show publicly that you're responding to the review, you're recognizing their feedback, and you want to help. And that does 2 things. One, it's the platform that they reached out on, so you're showing that directly that customer that you're listening and you want to help them. And 2, publicly it shows all your other customers that see that, or potential customers, and it says, we care, right? We care. If you don't have a good experience, we're going to do something about it. So that's respond.
So you're not putting your head in the sand.
Right.
You're going
You're saying,
straight
hey,
at it.
We're going to address this.
But that response, is there a certain technique of how you want to respond? Like, you're a total jerk, man. You know?
Yeah, so you want to just show that you're there to help, right?
So I listened.
Yep.
We're doing the best we can, and contact me to have us fix it for you or something like that.
And that
right?
you're putting the care of that customer and their experience above maybe what you really care about, which is whose fault it is. Doesn't matter. We care about how our customers experience our business. And then the second is reach out. And so we encourage our customers, typically via text, because it's the easiest and they're probably in your Podium system. Just text on a bad review, text out and say, hey, this is the owner or whatever, I want to help you. How can I, let's talk about it, right? Get them on the phone and then dive into where that communication breakdown happened, because it's typically miscommunication. And that's how you solve it.
Thanks, Dennis. All right, so you've got to ask for feedback from your customers, you got to listen to that feedback, and then you've got to engage with them to help improve that feedback that you're getting and improve those customer experiences. All right, thanks for joining us today. We'll be back next week. Keep on building your business.